شفاء لروحي وحبل المتين ورحمة قلبي وحصن الحصين.
شفاء لروحي وحبل المتين ورحمة قلبي وحصن الحصين
وأمن حياتي.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا سهلا. الحمد لله والشكر لله. We will speak tonight about a very important topic, namely Qasas al Qur'an, the stories of the Qur'an. And it's important because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dedicated 80% of the Qur'an to Qasas. 80% of the Qur'an is qissa, stories, narratives. And there's a big hikmah why 80% has been dedicated to narratives. Only 20% of those ayat in the Qur'an are ahkam, rulings, do and don't do, commands and prohibitions. And also from the 20% of the ahkam that says do and don't do, there are 80% of the 20% is close-ended, and then a 20% of that is open-ended, meaning people don't know how to interpret them. But the majority of those ahkam are very straightforward and clear. So why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dedicate so much to the Qur'an for qisas? And we will see inshaAllah ta'ala why, as we will speak from a book called Qasas al Qur'an, written by a scholar by the name of Dr. Salih al-Khalidi. Dr. Salih al-Khalidi is somebody that lectures at the University of Urdun, and he has looked at many books that have been authored on the topic of Qasas al Qur'an, and he filtered the false from the truth. They try to stick to what is only haqq. And it's very important for us to have the accuracy when it comes to the qisas of the Qur'an, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a great intention to teach us more qisas than ahkam, because in these stories there's a lot of wisdom. It is easily digestible, it is attractive to everyone. Everyone can listen and receive and retrieve from it the wisdoms and the ibar, the lessons from it, and it stays within the ruh, within the heart, longer than the ahkam. The ahkam is more of a command and a prohibition, which is harder on the ruh, whereas when somebody tells you a story, your heart opens up to it. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered our beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the Qur'an, in Surah Al-A'raf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an, فَقْصُصْ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقَصَصَ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Tell them the stories so that they can ponder. And the very stories that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told in the Qur'an wasn't only for the followers of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but it was also an appeasement for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. No? ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الرُّسُلِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is of the information that I tell you about the previous messengers. Why? لِنُثَبِّتَ بِهَا فُؤَادَكَ وَلِنُثَبِّتَ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ, so that we can affirm and solidify your heart on this particular mission. It's not an easy mission. You're going to be ridiculed at, you're going to be sworn at, you're going to be insulted, you're going to be called names, family and followers are going to suffer, right? So it's not an easy task, but we make yourself comfortable with this mission by telling you that you're not the only one that are going through this. or the only one that have gone through this. Previously, Anbiya have gone through the same thing. So the mission that you have, right, is not new. Oh Muhammad, is not new. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the qasas for. In the ibar, in the idad, the lessons, and the wisdoms that is retrieved from these qasas, is not only a medicine for Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but is a medicine for his followers as well. And so to look into this particular narratives, it's extremely vital, and it attracts a certain type of people to listen to these narratives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an, لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ عِبْرَةٌ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ مَا كَانَ حَدِيثًا يُفْتَرَى وَلَكِنْ تَصْدِيقَ الَّذِي بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ وَتَفْصِيلَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةً لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed, كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ, indeed in their stories that we have told, right, there's ibrah, there is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says these words, right, we have to look at the one who speaks, right, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says ibrah, there's wisdom and there's lessons to be learned in these qisas. But who will be attracted to these ibrah and these lessons and these wisdoms, these pearls of wisdoms? None other but the ulil albab, the people who possess lub, the people who possess lub. There are some people that want to know about the detail about the stories, because we will understand as we will go through the stories that the Qur'an doesn't give us a lot of detail, right? But there are certain people that are thirsting after detail, right? What's the kind of wood that Sayyidina Nuh used for the ark, right? ذات ألواح ودسر, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. This particular ark that Sayyidina Nuh built was ذات ألواح. It is a possessor of logs and planks upon planks, massive, huge structure. ودسر, and nails. So it possessed a lot of material, wood and nails. What kind of nails was it? And these type of questions people want to ask, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't go into that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to draw our attention to something else. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will just mention ذَاتِ الْوَاحِ وَدُسُرِ. It is a possessor of wood and planks and dusurs, nails for example. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to reflect upon the mission of Nuh and why the people of Nuh were destroyed, right? What did they do to deserve this punishment, right? What was the shortcomings? The sabr of Nuh. This is the thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to reflect upon. How did he go about doing da'wah? Layla wa nahara. فَلَمْ يَزِدُهُمْ دُعَائِ إِلَّا فِرَارًا. I was busy calling them day and night. وَلَمْ يَزِدُهُمْ دُعَائِ, and my calling them, it didn't increase them to me except in distance. إِلَّا فِرَارًا. So the sabr of Nuh is important. How did he do da'wah? In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I used to give them da'wah in secret, and then I used to give them da'wah in public. So there's things to learn from this. How Sayyidina Nuh, for example, went about his da'wah. We can only do da'wah in secret and in public. What else is there? Secret and in public. He did both. And our Prophet ﷺ did the same. Secretly spoke to the people. When the Hujjaj came into Mecca, from all the different areas in Arabia, they came into Mecca. This is before Islam started taking its mission, its role in Mecca. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went to different tribes, set them down, listened to the mission. But behind the background, there were Abu Jahl, Utbah ibn Rabi'ah, Abu Sufyan. They said, he is a soothsayer, he's a magician, don't listen to him, he's epileptic. Don't listen to this man, he's falsehood. Until the people of Yathrib came. right? Until the Aus and the Hazraj came, and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam set them down in secret, and they accepted in secret, and they left in secret, and they went on with the mission in Medina in secret, and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kept on with the mission in secret until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayah that he has to be jahr, he has to open up. قُمْ فَأَنذِرْ وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. Stand up and call out the mission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and call the people to this deen openly. This when he stood on a hilltop, or Safa or Marwa, and he was calling people to a very important thing. The people came out, those who couldn't came sent their slaves to listen, and you all know the story of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's mission in the beginning. So all of these little things are all lessons for us. How would we go about doing da'wah? Right, for example, how would we go about implementing patience? How would we go about implementing shukr? If we look at Sayyidina Ayyub, now, the Prophet Ayyub, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a sick bed so long. How did he go about keeping that patience and that gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relieved him of all of those pain and suffering? Subhanallah, a lesson. Still today, people take lessons and ibar and wisdoms from the stories of the Anbiya, because it's haqq. Not only Islam speaks about it, not only the Judaism speak about it, but all Abrahamic faiths speak about them. And then we have to look at certain qisas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not go into too much detail. There's a wisdom there as well. Right? In some qisas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept on repeating and repeating and repeating in the Quran. Like the story of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. Sayyidina Adam's name in the Quran is probably mentioned about 78 times in the Quran. Why? In the story about him, Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam and Iblis in the angels, and Iblis in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the angels in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how many times has that been repeated in the Quran? Those of us who read Quran and understand what we read, we will know that this story has been repeated and repeated. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do that? In there are little gems and pearls. Once we have it, it's almost like we literally have a pearl in our possession, or a gem in our possession. Depending how deep our insight is into this particular picture that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, practical lesson that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala paints in the Quran. Right? For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إذ قلنا للملائكة, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إذ قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم فسجدوا إلا إبليس أبى واستكبر وكان من الكافرين. Story goes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam. How he created, we will see inshaAllah ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the angels. Now look at how the angels obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إذ قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم, not وَسَجَدُوا or ثُمَّ سَجَدُوا. Wa means there has been a period of pause, and then they prostrated when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered them to prostrate to Adam. Or thumma means a longer pause. All of these are valid, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very accurate. He said, فَسَجَدُوا, prostrate, and they prostrated immediately. No interval in between. And this is an example of how a mu'min should be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands. Let me speak to myself first before I speak to you. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands, we should not ask why. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has our best interest at heart. And He knows what is best for us. He's the one who created us. And He looks further than what we can look. Right? However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the same time created the opposite to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the opposite response to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine command. Illa Iblis. Iblis didn't pursue. خَلَقَتَنِي مِن نَارٍ وَخَلَقَتَهُ مِن طِينٍ. Why shall I? You created me from fire and you created him from teen, from clay. Why shall I prostrate? Fire is better than clay. What did he use? He used his own aql. How many of us use our own aql sometimes? And we say, well, why shall we wipe on top of the khuf? We've got khufs. What's the part that gets most dirty? The bottom part. We shall wipe on the bottom part, shall we? But why do we wipe on top of it? What's the wisdom wiping on top of it? Some people might ask that question. But our Prophet showed us, wiping on top of it, this is the Sharia. This is how I teach you. So follow. Right? So we follow. So if we follow, we are in the Bawtaqa, we are in the sphere of the Malaika. No? Somebody says, dig here. The master says to the slave, dig here. Take the spade and dig here. Slave takes a spade, doesn't ask any questions, and he digs. And he digs, and he digs, and he digs. And eventually he will get water. And he will quench his thirst. And he will help others with the water as well. Those why. Some other slaves might ask, why shall I dig here? What's the wisdom in digging here? Why not over there? Right? This person is going to create the barrier between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's going to create distance between him and his master. What's going to happen? His master is going to sack him. Go, I don't want you. So the ibar goes even deeper. Now, the angels, when they saw Adam, they were made of nur. And Adam was black, as the Qur'an will explain to us. He was made of teen, which is naturally brown, dark brown. Right? And Adam a.s. was left in the Jannah for a long period. And he turned black. Now, so when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِنَا, and we blew into him of the ruh, Adam stood up, and the angels looked at Adam with the firasa al-malakiyah. They could see that Adam is destined for something tremendous. The firasa al-malaki that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon them, they could see that this being is destined for greatness. But when Iblis looked at Adam, what did he see? He did not see what the angels saw. The angels saw they didn't look at the black form and the color and the hair. They didn't look at that. The angels did not look at that. They looked deeper than that. They saw beyond that. Right? But what did Iblis look at? They only saw the form. And from this particular qissa, a new lesson is learned again. Same qissa. The first one is about ubudiyah and responsiveness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine command. Then a new lesson is learned. How do we look at people? The firasa and malakiyah, no matter if the person is blind, for example, or he is disabled, but we look beyond that. What has this person got to offer? Right? How many a blind person was one of the greatest scribes in Islam, the greatest ulama? How many a crippled person, a weak person, left behind works that till today is sung, and people weep and cry and benefit from it. The Burda al-Sharif. So people look beyond the physical appearance, but the satanic look draws our minds and our hearts only to the outer appearances of people. Iblis, what did he say? خَلَقَتَنِي مِن نَارٍ وَخَلَقَتَهُ مِن طِينٍ. He saw teen in the form of a shape of a man. That's what he saw. And he didn't prostrate for that reason. But the angels saw something beyond that. Because man can raise himself What the angels saw is man can raise himself beyond the angels' level. No? Beyond the angels. Why? Because the angels, they are created, their nature is to obey. Their nature is to obey. When they saw Adam, they saw that in him there's a nafs. And he has to battle and fight this nafs. And the reward for that is tremendous. This is what they saw. And when an ins defeats his nafs, is beyond them. Is beyond them. And for that they had to prostrate. Because they don't have that, they don't have the enemy of their own nafs. They don't have nafs. وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. No? لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم. They don't disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. And they do as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells them to do. There's no barrier between them. There's no attraction for the dunya. They don't have a shaitan to mislead them. They don't have a hawa. They just follow as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands them. So these qisas have very, and this what I'm giving you is only what the ulama or the mufassirin highlights. The awliya, they have isharat, they have deeper insight into matters. And then a person can retrieve even greater and deeper lessons from the qisas that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala related to us in the Qur'an. Also important to know is that our souls are undernourished, right? Why do I say so? It is thirsty. It needs to be quenched. Right? When a person says rawa means to relate. But the very same word rawa means to quench. So you take this water and I quench my thirst, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I feel a relief. My throat's wet. Right? I feel a relief, the dryness is gone. So it's the same with the qisas of the Qur'an. Rawa yarwi also means to relate a story. And like people need water, they need stories. In this country especially, the people survive on narratives. And wherever you go, in the center of Arabia, where there was nothing else that is entertaining, apart from one thing, and that was narratives, stories of the previous tribes and nations and so on, that was spoken and read out, either in poetry form or just spoken out and read out as people recall them to their offspring. And this is something that made them alive, gave their spirits and their arwah that nourishment to move forward. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling us to this particular quenching, to quench our arwah. مَا كَانَ حَدِيثًا يُفْتَرَى. Allah says in the Quran, it is not a speech that has its muftara. Muftara meaning that has been it's hearsay. It's not hearsay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks here. He is the one who created the events that He's speaking about. To the last detail He's creating it. And He created those events. He who created those events, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, created them for a reason. And the reasons are many. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlights certain points in these events and doesn't give them sometimes a full length discussion of the event, like Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. We know the story of Sayyidina Yusuf. It starts at one point when he was a little boy, and then it ends when he has reached the rank of the wazir, the minister of finance of Egypt, the superpower at that time, strongest nation at that time. The whole qissa from beginning to end is there, with all the detail of there, right? But then there are certain stories that are only given in piecemeal, bits and bits here and there. No? Like like that of Sayyidina Musa. Sayyidina Musa's story, little bit here, little bit there, his journey out of Egypt, when he was born, when he was put in the Nile, right? And then from there onwards, the circulation of Sayyidina Musa and Sayyidina Harun and Banu Israel in the desert for 40 years. Then from there onwards, there's a happening where he goes out from away from the tribes of Banu Israel to meet Al-Khidr. How do they all fit in little bits here and there? We have to put them all together and paste them all together to see how the life of Sayyidina Musa was. And then we can see the ibar in it. And Sayyidina Yunus and Sayyidina Isa, all of them in pieces. And then there are also other qisas of individuals that lived in the time of Anbiya. And these stories are also highlighted as stories of the Qur'an. Because if you look at this particular book, it doesn't say Qasas al Anbiya, it is Qasas al Qur'an. So we're going to deal here about the story of Sayyidina Luqman al-Hakim, the stories of Banu Israel, the slaughtering of the camel when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Sayyidina Musa when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to slaughter a cow. فَذْبَحُوا بَقَرًا قَالُوا أَتَتَّخِذُنَا هُزُوًا. Allah says to them, slaughter a cow. And they said, are you taking us as fools, O Musa? Why shall we slaughter a cow? Why was a need for a cow to be slaughtered then? We will look into that. So some stories are complete, some stories are not complete. But all of these stories and events, they are related to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks here. ولكن تصديق الذي بين يديه وتفصيل كل شيء وهدى ورحمة لقوم يؤمنون. But listen now. تصديق الذي بين يديه. But it is these stories, it is an affirmation that it is an affirmation to that which Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam has between his hands or in front of him, and that is his sunnah. When Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam tells the Sahaba what something, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals something, and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam elaborates. For example, Ashab al-Ukhdud. Now, قتل أصحاب الأخدود النار ذات الوقود. The Ashab al-Ukhdud were murdered, massacre. An-Nari, it's a massive fire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expresses An-Nar, the fire, Dhatil Waqud. It had so many logs and wood, firewood in it, burning, waiting for these Muslims to be flung in. Our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam elaborated on that hadith in detail in a hadith Sahih Bukhari. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives part of it, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam affirms. So when Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives part of it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala affirms and gives detail. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't speak, told the whole story of Sayyidina Yusuf, bits of it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elaborated. No. And this is one of the signs of Nubuwah. One of the signs of Nubuwah. Okay. وَتَفْصِيلَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةً لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. وَتَفْصِيلَ, and it is a tafsil. These stories are a detailed exposition of everything. And it's a guidance, وَرَحْمَةً لِقَوْمِ يُؤْمِنُونَ, and it's a mercy for those who believe. Tafsil. How is it a tafsil, a detailed exposition, a detailed recollection? It is tafsil not in the detail as we recall stories to be told every single bit. It is detailed in the wisdoms and the lessons that it reveals to us or relate to us. Now, it doesn't tell us about everything, but everything that we need to be happy in this dunya and happy in the after, and that is the thing that man is after. Man is seeking happiness. In the ulama say that what is falah, happiness. Happiness is defined by the ulama as sa'adatul dunya. Falah, success, means sa'adatul dunya wal akhirah. Happiness, to have happiness in the dunya and in the akhirah. Falah, it means success. Success is defined as sa'adatul dunya, or nail sa'adatul dunya, to achieve happiness in the dunya and happiness in the year after. That is what we are after. And the Qasas gives us that. Not in a command and prohibition form, right? It tells us a story so we can ponder about it. We can reflect about it. Now, وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةً لِقَوْمِ يُؤْمِنُونَ. And it's a guidance for, and a rahmah and a mercy for the people who believe. Now, this is in Surah Yusuf. At the end of Surah Yusuf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says these words. After that long story. وَقَالَ اللَّهُ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى وَكُلٌّ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الرُّسُلِ مَا نُثَبِّتُ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ. And O Muhammad, we relate to you the stories of the previous messengers so that your heart can be strengthened. So your heart can be strengthened. Now, Sayyidina Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam received the qissa of Talut. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about Talut Malika. And the Jews said, أَنَّا يَكُونُ لَهُ الْمُلْكُ عَلَيْنَا وَنَحْنُ أَحَقُّ بِالْمُلْكِ مِنْ. How can he be a king over us? We are more deserving to be a king. The Jews wanted somebody to lead them from amongst themselves, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose somebody else. No? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, no, he's got knowledge and physically stronger than you. So he's going to be leader. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains the qissa of Talut, how he takes the army in against the enemies of the Jews. And this is all preparation for Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam for his great battles that he fought against the infidels, against the mushrikun and unbelievers. Sayyidina Dawood and Jalut. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in that qissa that he relates Jalla fi'ula at the end of Surah Baqarah, كَم مِّن فِئَةٍ قَلِيلَةٍ غَلَبَتْ فِئَةٍ كَثِيرًا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. How many a small amount of people conquered a big amount of people by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will. This was related to who? To Rasulullah when he entered into Badr. 314 against 1,000 strong. And again Uhud, 1,000 against how many? Against 3,000 strong. And then on top of it, 300 of the 1,000 of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam deserted him, the munafiqun, and went back to Medina. He was 700 against 300. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthened him in moments like this. نُثَبِّتُ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ. We strengthen your heart, O Muhammad, through these qisas. وَجَاءَكَ فِي هَذِهِ الْحَقُّ مَوْعِظَةٌ وَذِكْرَى لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Now, وَجَاءَكَ فِي هَذِهِ الْحَقُّ. And in this came to you truth, and a maw'idah, a lesson, a ibrah, something for us to take heed of. وَذِكْرَى لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And as a dhikra as well for us, the mu'mineen that comes afterwards. Now, qissa, we want to go a little bit in detail just before we tonight inshallah is our introduction to Qasas al Qur'an. We need to know the importance of it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He uses the word qissa or qasas or qisas quite a lot in the Qur'an. Now, so qassa yaqussu, qassa means to follow someone in his footsteps. If I say qussihi or qushu, I say go and follow him, like a detective would follow somebody, a bounty hunter would identify the footprints, right, and test them how old they are, how fresh they are, right, and all of these things. And this is qissa. And if you look at the word qissa, another word similar to it is mentioned in the Quran called qisas. Qisas. What is qisas? Qisas means the corporal punishment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives, or ordered us to give to those who transgress the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ, Allah says in the Quran. And in the corporal punishment, there is life, Allah says. Right? The beheading of those who committed the act of murder, the lashing of those who committed the act of fornication, the pelting of those who committed the act of adultery, the chopping of the hand of those who stole, committed the act of stealing, 80 lashes of those who committed the act of shurb al-khamr. All of this might sound brutal, but if someone were to witness or know cognitively that this is the repercussions, he will refrain from the act. In turn, the very brutality is sweetness for us, is life for us. So this qisas, corporal punishment, why is it the same as the word qissa or qasas? Because when somebody has committed a sin or a murder, investigation has to take place. We have to ask questions. Where have you been on the night of the 5th of May? Where have you been? I've been there. What have you done? Who were you with? Right? So a lot of detail comes out. So people, it's almost like they're following the person's doings. What have you done? And eventually they will come out with the truth. This is how qisas fits in with qasas. So qasas is, it means to follow the footsteps of somebody, literally. When a person does the act of finding out information, and this is what we're going to do now, with the help of the alim and the other scholars before us that he drew the help from, other books, like the books of the big seerah books of Tariq al-Tabri, Ibn Kathir, the Bidayah Nihaya, Al-Kamil fi Tariq, and others, Ibn Khaldun and so on and so forth, who wrote extensively on Qasas. And there are other people who wrote individual books on the Qasas al-Anbiya and the Qasas al Qur'an, which the alim took all together and did his own study. He says, when we try to find out, we're still trying to get tahqiq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran certain things, but then we hear other people relating to us things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't mention in the Quran. Where do we get this from? Right? It comes from Israeliyat. Now, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, حَدِّثُوا عَنْ بَنُو إِسْرَائِيل وَلَا حَرَجْ. You can speak about Banu Israel, وَلَا حَرَجْ. In the beginning, وَلَا حَرَجْ means, and there's there's nothing against us if we do. Right? Because they also have books that were revealed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to them, but in terms of maintaining its authenticity, this they didn't take care of. So many things were added on and many things were taken away. So this is the weakness that it seeped into the Qasas al Qur'an, if I may use that term. So we find many of the scholars before relating many of the stories of Banu Israel. Are they sahih or are they not sahih? This is the question. Are they authentic or are they not authentic? Right? We have to look at that in detail. So the alim says there's two things that I'm going to concentrate on. And he says the first thing is sihha. Whatever I'm going to take from Israeliyat or from the Sunnah, sometimes we've got da'if hadith or even weak, even mawdu' hadith. Mawdu' means fabricated hadith. Whatever I get from the Sunnah, whatever I get from the Israeliyat, I'm going to scrutinize it and I'm going to take only the purest of the pure from it and add it in this book. Right? And that's the first thing he's going to do. And then if he's going to get the sahih piece, then he's going to put it on the blueprint of the Qur'an and see if it fits. Or the general practice of the Anbiya. And the Anbiya, we know these are people that are infallible. They have this wajibat, that things that we have to believe about the Anbiya. Right? So if the qissa that we have, if it doesn't fit in with how a Nabi should be, then we're going to try to explain if it's sahih. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam never tells us a lie. So we can't say that it's a lie if it's sahih. How are we going to explain it? So it needs explanation. No? For example, Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam committed a sin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَصَى رَبَّهُ فَعَصَى رَبَّهُ وَأَنَابَ. And he made inaba. How does that fit in with nubuwwah? How do we explain that? These are complex issues that comes up. Iblis was in the Jannah, disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How does that fit in with our understanding that the Jannah does not accept the purest of the pure? How can Iblis be in the Jannah and then disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? In the Jannah there is no disobedience. How do we explain this? And issues similar to this. Okay. So this is the principal conditions, or the conditions that the alim is going to base his whole book upon, is authentic sources. Right? It has to be rigorously authenticated, the hadith that he takes. And if it is Israeliyat, it has to be authenticated by the scholars. And then it has to fit with the blueprint of the Qur'an. The word qissa in the Qur'an, in its past tense form, has been mentioned 4 times. In its present tense form, has been mentioned 14 times. In its imperative form, it has been mentioned twice. The word Qasas al Qur'an has been mentioned 6 times. Al-Qisas 4 times. So the word has been used quite a lot in the Quran. Now, there are certain qisas that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relates in the Quran, and there are certain qisas that the Anbiya relates in the Quran. This is also a difference that we have in the Quran. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relates, and then the Anbiya is they are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala obviously relates the whole Quran from beginning to end. It's the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you were to look at who speaks at that particular moment, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking of, who speaks those words, then we could say that they are the Anbiya and they are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself describes the type of qissas that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relates to us. And this is very important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. We relate to you not the secondary, but the greatest, the ahsan, the most beautiful of stories. أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن. What we reveal to you in this Quran, the best of stories. So what does this tell us? That is one story better than the other? Should we have a liking to one story or not a liking to the other? Right? Every single story has something to give us, has a pearl, a gem to give us. And once we really taste Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is concerned about us in that Quran, through that qissa, we will appreciate the Quran more. It will eventually inspire us to do tafsir of the Quran. Now, to understand the Quran even deeper and deeper, and gain closeness to the Quran and build up a relationship with the Quran, become of Ahlul Quran, and maybe learn and study the Quran in its tajweed, in its tafsir, in its qira'at. خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. And the best of you are those who learn the Quran and then teach it to others. So, أحسن القصص, through the qasas, a person can really gain that relationship with the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to have. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ أَقْفَالُهَا. Don't they ponder about the Quran? If somebody, if a friend or somebody that we love sends us a letter, right? No matter if we dig hard in the garden to get our garden right for the summer, we stop. Postman gives us a letter. MashaAllah, this is interesting. So and so send us a letter. Stop. Everything stops right there. Garden is half done. The garden is half done. The letter goes open and reads. MashaAllah. Spends time, sit on the fence and read. This is our mentality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends us a book filled with greatness. It is the book of secrets today. It's the book of secrets. In it lies secrets. After every ayah, there is a tremendous secret. So we have grown so stale in our ruh that we don't even want to open up these gems and these great secrets in the Quran. Subhanallah. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this Quran so easy for us to digest by giving us 80% stories in it. 80% stories. Now, subhanallah, if a person look and read the seerah of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and when you listen to Shaykh Ibrahim, insha'Allah ta'ala, you will notice that the ayah that he recites are ayah in different areas of the Quran. And these ayat are all the qissa of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The sabab and nuzul for every single ayah in the Quran is the lifestyle of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his companions in the happenings that took place there. Right? If that is revealed, then every single ayah, even the ayatul ahkam, even the ayat that comes and gives us the rulings, are stories. No? They are also stories. The story of Sayyidina Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's marriage to Zainab. In Surah Al-Talaq, when Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wanted to divorce one of the women. These are all ayat that has asbabun nuzul. Very interesting to know why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveal this ayah. So in Surah Mujadala, قد سمع الله قول التي تجادلك في زوجها وتشتكي إلى الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala heard the woman who came to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and complained about her husband, who told her that you anta alayya ka dhahri ummi, you are like my mother unto me. Who hurted her tremendously, extremely. Those days, it was something that the pagan Arabs used to use to the wives, to insult their wives. Then, this woman in the time of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, she felt it's really painful. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm going to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There must be a hukum for this. You can't tell me that. I'm like his mother. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ahkam of dhihar. Dhihar means when a man says this to his wife, insulted to that degree, there is a hukum called dhihar, and there's repercussions upon the man. So there's qisas even behind the ahkam in the Qur'an. And this is our shortcoming, not to know. We just take the ayat, or we read the ayat, or we read the Qur'an. All of these, some of the ahkam we know, and many of them we don't know. We get mixed up with them and so on. But the Qur'an, the tafsir of the Qur'an, through qissa, through stories, will make us remember what's going on here. If the story of Rasulullah and the divorce that he was about to give to one of his wives are related to us in story form, not only will we know the asbab and nuzul, but we will know the hukum as well. We will know the hukum as well. No? So qissa is very important. Taqsim al-Qasas al Qur'an. And as a matter of fact, the ulama of usul could not do justice to the understanding of the ahkam in the Qur'an without the asbab al-nuzul. Without the asbab al-nuzul, they could not. They could not. So the qisas in the Qur'an are of two kinds. They are Qasas al Anbiya, the stories of the Anbiya. The story of Sayyidina Adam, Sayyidina Nuh, Sayyidina Hud, Sayyidina Salih, Sayyidina Ibrahim, Ismail, Ishaq, Lut, Shu'aib, Yaqub, Yusuf, Musa, Harun, Dawood, Sulaiman, Yunus, Ilyas, Idris, Zakaria, Yahya, Isa, ثم Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. Then there are the qisas غير الأنبياء, the stories that are not pertaining to the Anbiya. The stories of the two sons of Adam, is it Anbiya? No. Qabil, from his loins came Sheeth alayhi salam, who was chosen as Nabi. وَقِصَّةُ Harut wa Marut, two angels that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to the people of Babylon to teach them magic. And every time the people, at that time magic was so rife in Babylon. Subhanallah. Sometimes when people see all of these movies about magic and the Arabs and all of these things, so it makes sense sometimes. Sihr was very rife. And every time the people came to them, they used to say to the people, إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرُ. We are only a fitna. We are only a test unto you. So don't take this magic, don't make kufr. But the people nevertheless learned it from them. So this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested the mu'min from the non-mu'min by sending these two angels to teach sihr. And that's a good wisdom and lesson to learn for us in this amongst our people in Kala Jadid and stuff. وَقِصَّةُ الَّذِي مَرَّ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ, and the story about the man who walked through the town. The story of Sayyidina Uzair. You all know Sayyidina Uzair, who came across the town. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, town is completely barren, complete in ruins. In ruins. And he asked, how will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring this back to life? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed us an example, and to him how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do it. وَقِصَّةُ الَّذِي انْسَلَخَ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَقِصَّةُ أَصْحَابِ السَّبْتِ, the story of the people of the Sabbath day. The Jews who thought they could fool Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَقِصَّةُ أَصْحَابِ الْقَرْيَةِ, and the story about the people of the town in Surah Yasin. وَقِصَّةُ أَصْحَابِ الْأُخْدُودِ, and the story of the people of the Ukhdud, the big, massive hole that was dug up and filled with fire, and the people were flung into it. In Surah, Buruj. وَقِصَّةُ أَهْلِ الْكَهْفِ, the story of the people of the seven sleepers. Right? The Ahlul Kahf, the people of the cave. وَقِصَّةُ أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّتَيْن, in Surah Kahf, the story of the two men who had the men who had two massive gardens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about them in Surah Kahf. وَقِصَّةِ ذُو الْقَرْنَيْنِ ذُو الْقَرْنَيْنِ ما شاء الله. وهناك قصص لا نجزم أن أصحابها أنبياء لعدم ورود الحديث صحيح معتمد يثبت لهم النبوة كقصة لقمان. وهناك قصة متصلة مع قصة الأنبياء كقصة ابن موسى. So these are stories that are individual on their own. They are not Anbiya, and they are stories about individuals, either awliya or other. And then there are stories of people, of men that we are certain that they are Anbiya, like Sayyidina al-Khidr. Right? Ulama say they are of the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some say no, they are of the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some say no, they're not messengers, they're just prophets. So the ulama say no, we take the middle path, they're prophets. Okay. Sayyidina Luqman the same. Some say he's a Nabi, some say no, he's not a Nabi, he's one of the Salihin in the time of Sayyidina Dawood. وهناك قصص متصلة مع قصص الأنبياء قصة ابن موسى, and then there are stories that are related to the stories of the Anbiya. Certain individuals who play a very important role, but linked to a Nabi, like the story of the mother of Musa. Right? It's a long story about the mother of Musa. Now, وقصة قارون. Qarun also related to Musa. وقصة فرعون, the Al Fir'aun, the family of Fir'aun, also related to Musa. وقصة بقرة, the story about the cow that the cow that had to be slaughtered by Banu Israel. This is also qissa, but not separated from Sayyidina Musa. It is a story in which Sayyidina Musa is one of the key players. Now, وَقِصَّةُ تِيهِ Bani Israel, in the story of when Bani Israel have been left for dwelling in the desert for 40 years. There also, it's a story linked to Sayyidina Musa and Sayyidina Harun, and they are both key players in the story. وَقِصَّةُ مَلِكَةُ Saba, the story of Queen Sheba with Sayyidina Sulaiman. Right, very interesting stories. وَقِصَّةُ Maryam, in the story of Sayyidina Maryam, related to Sayyidina Isa. Right? وَقِصَّةُ مَائِدَةُ, in the story about the Ma'idah, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down from the heavens for the apostles, disciples of Sayyidina Isa. This is also a very important story. وَقِصَّةُ Talut and Jalut. Talut that we spoke about, and Jalut, who is Goliath. This is also a story that's linked with Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam. Inshallah ta'ala, we have gone over our time. Inshallah, before we start with the first Qasas al Adam, we are just going to go through what's the purpose of the Qasas. We have mentioned a few purposes of the Qasas, but there are other purposes as well. People disbelieved in Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and they said, well, he is not a Nabi, especially the Jews. Right? He's not a Nabi. Let him tell us about certain things of the past to see if he's a Nabi. So Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam related to them from the Qur'an through Jibreel alayhi salam, revealed to him, and he related them stories of the previous nations. And still they did not accept. But that's going to count against them. It's going to count against them the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And like it will count against them, the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah will count against them to those who hear this Qur'an being recited, or read the Qur'an and see that these qissas that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam spoke from within him, it was revealed upon him. It is a denial of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It's a denial to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And anybody who denies Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam is destined for eternal unhappiness. Wal-iyadu billah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protection in that. So this is just a brief introduction to the stories of the Qur'an. And inshallah ta'ala, We will look at a few reasons why these qisas were mentioned. As, like I said, we have mentioned a few, but there's more. Time is up, and then we will link that up with next time we meet, inshaAllah ta'ala, with the story of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah.